Newland, then Pleasance, Bergeron, Matting, and Petty. Now, ball one there from Kennedy to get us underway. It's Aaron Peterson behind the plate. Michael Hernandez, the umpire, at first. Scott Mayer is at second. Mike Bartling at third base.
Well, first pitch was thrown and the PA was still going. That's how amped everyone is to get this game 3 moving along.
2-0 to the junior Rudity, and she takes a strike, 2-1. Nyjah Kennedy talked after the game last night with an overflowing bucket of positivity. I don't know that you can get her down. She had a great game yesterday and said that she's really just got to get back to doing what she does, which is not throwing the ball too much over the plate. Hitting better lanes, as she described it. And the simplest distillation of that is not throwing the ball over the middle third of the plate quite as much.
Rudity hasn't swung the bat yet. We saw her on Friday come out and just hack at the first 2 pitches against Kennedy, just being a little bit more careful as the leadoff, trying to see some pitches. Something to think about. On Friday, Nyjah threw a lot of changeups. Threw them early and often. Yesterday, to my count, she only threw 3. Full count here, you have a hitter swinging twice. Now's the time to do it if you have it in the game plan.
And Rudity pops it up. Mailer, the grab, out number 1. And Rudity made Kennedy work there in that first at bat. And Kennedy, one of the 3 finalists for Player of the Year. Reese Atwood from Texas, Lexi Kilfoyle, Oklahoma State. Nyjah Kennedy, look at her numbers coming into the postseason. Among pitchers who came into the super regional round, 16 teams, she led the nation in strikeouts, average against, opponent slugging percentage, strikeout percentage, and whip. And for the 2nd straight year, the nation's leader in ERA. So that's a pretty good resume to get yourself Player of the Year.
And she's got the innings quota this year. She didn't have them last year, was injured during the majority of Pac-12 play, and we can Sharpie her name in as a first-team All-American this season.
Sierra Briggs has been excellent in the postseason through regionals in the first 2 games of this series, hitting well above her season mark of .333. She's 6 for 14 at the plate, a .429 clip. And there are contingencies on both teams tonight. Or contingents, I should say. Somebody's career is going to end tonight. And that's the difficult part of getting into the postseason for LSU. They've got 7 players whose eligibility is exhausted at the end of this year. For Stanford, it's 4. But Briggs, one of the headliners for this LSU program, looking to get back to the World Series for the first time since 2017. Missed out on supers each of the last 2 years also. And the 2-2, past Kern and into shallow center field. Sierra Briggs has her 7th postseason base hit.
Six seniors in the lineup offensively for the Tigers. And to me, Sierra Briggs and then also Kelly Lynch and Allie Newland have had those trio have had the best at-bats off of Nyjah. So they have stars in my scorebook. You just have to be a little bit more careful with those hitters. Sierra Briggs is so hard to keep off the base paths.
Kelly Lynch told us after the game last night, her objective is to look low in the zone. Don't chase the pitch up and out of the zone, that even if you make contact, it's probably going backwards. Her first at bat Friday night, also against Kennedy, turned it into a double. Now this is a good sign for Kennedy. Nobody's made real solid contact, and 2 pop-outs to the left side of the infield.
And what that tells me is she's hitting her corners better, because if you're not going to get a squared up hit, it's going to be the barrel in tight. Even the single to Briggs, it was jammed up, so definitely a point of emphasis. Cannot miss over the white. Game 3, postseason, super regionals. The hitters are just too elite at this level.
Raylene Gutierrez, shallow left center field, right to Kira Chan. Jones, who had hit second a lot of the season, has bumped down to 8th, 1 for 14 here in the postseason, but still 343 on the year. There's the saying that numbers never lie, but I think I found a fib in the numbers as far as leadoff hitters go, Taryn Kern. Because if you were to look at the hits, she's 2 for 13 in the postseason, but she's reached 10 other times. 7 walks. She's been hit by 3 pitches.
That's why her on-base percentage is over 500. But her batting average is under 300. That is a crazy separation. I believe she needs 2 walks to be the national leader in walks. I think Corby Otis is the only one that has 1 more.
And the Gators winners in a thriller earlier today. Man, there have been some nail biters right down to the wire here in these winner-take-all games. 5 of them today, the most we've ever had. A couple of seasons with 5, but it's been a while getting us here to this year. And the Gators holding off Baylor in Gainesville. Corby Otis and Taryn Kern, both players who had phenomenal freshman seasons. Otis at Louisville, Kern at Indiana, finding success at their respective new homes. Kern takes off the plate. It's 3-2. Probably expect a lot of at-bats to go this way tonight.
Leadoffs for both sides, full counts.
Scouting out the wazoo. 3-2, a called third strike from Berzon. She gets Kern looking for the first out.
This is just a low curve, little backdoor action. 2 strikes, too close. She throws hard, has good velocity. Her #1 pitch is that drop ball. She will spread the plate, make hitters chase. She can go upstairs, can go curve, and just froze Taryn Kern on that back door.
She keeps the infielders engaged with a lot of ground balls. Ahead on Kira Chan, 0-2. But almost 7 out of every 10 balls that get put into play against Sydney Berzon are hit on the ground.
That's the drop right there. Such a luxury for a pitcher to have that many different pitches that you can go to, and if you need to face a lineup a second time, give them a completely different look. Maybe they're looking drop, so you can sneak a couple curves in.
Chan taps it off the end of the bat. Shallow right field, and good communication there. Petty makes the catch. Rudity hangs back. 2 up, 2 down. And I said we'll probably have a lot of long at-bats because now you have LSU facing Kennedy for the 3rd time, Stanford facing Berzon for the 2nd time, but also because the sophomore from Buffalo, New York, who's in the circle, she says she's the biggest film geek on the entire team, that she loves. She will spend hours watching hitter tendencies, watching what other pitchers have done against opposing hitters. And no doubt when you move from having 3 opponents potential last weekend to just 1, a lot more time to get dialed in on the card.
And also you can watch the film of the hitters that you're going to face, but then after you face those hitters yourself, you watch yourself. You watch that film and it's completely different. Yeah, the youngster, just a sophomore, says it's all about embracing it.
Her 0-2 gets the corner, strike 3, and the inning is over. Pair of strikeouts, and Florida, which missed out last year, goes back to OKC looking for a 3rd national championship.
Such a cool moment for our sport to see a new face for Duke. Going to Oklahoma City, first time in program history, and then you get to Oklahoma City and welcome. You get to play the defending champs right away. This is what it's all about, but yeah, that's a really cool moment to see in our sport. Spread the love, new faces,
A
really
team
cool.
that's in its just 7th year.
It's incredible. It really is. Incredible. It is so hard to get to Oklahoma City. And they've been knocking at the door the last couple of seasons, and just because you're knocking on the door doesn't mean you're going to break through. They did.
Leading it off here, Allie Newland, then Taylor Pleasance, Macy Bergeron for LSU in the 2nd. Duke, their win against Missouri. Tigers were a win away from their first trip to the World Series in 13 years. And that game went scoreless into the 9th. Duke had scored 1 run in their last 15 innings and put 4 up in the 9th. Allie Newland this weekend has not had any wasted swings.
It's her MO. Get your swing off. Be committed to it. Even with 2 strikes, commit to your swing, commit to the zone.
I think one of the tougher things to do in sports, not speaking from experience, of course, is after you lose, then having to answer questions about that. Yeah. Newland so poised last night after they lost in a really difficult game. She talked about picking her zone, because if you hit the ball where you want it and not where the pitcher wants you to hit it, she said the bigger your zone is, the smaller the ball is going to look. The opposite is what you want. Smaller the zone, you see it there, and the ball looks inflated.
I enjoyed listening to her in that press conference. Spoken like a senior, had so much wisdom, and you know, Coach Torina was reflective of the fact that they're going up against the best pitcher in the country, and she is going to have her game and clearly a different approach. She said we were a little bit just on our heels yesterday on Friday, way more aggressive. Would love to see that approach come out of my team here on game 3. But was just very, you know, tip of the hat. That's sports. We're going to ride the roller coaster, come out with a different game plan, and go back to the drawing board.
And sometimes it can be as simple as you're going up against the best player at her position in the sport. Sometimes she's going to be better than you on a given day. And that was the case for Kennedy last night. Kennedy gets the strikeout.
First strikeout of the day for Nyjah, the low rise. It's got a little bit of tail to it. I like that for her. Going away. Yep, strike 3. But that, one of those things you just have to tip your hat. And talking to LSU about the mindset at the plate going up against Kennedy and celebrating the little things, celebrating the foul balls, starting small, working big.
Taylor Pleasance hoping this is not the last game of her collegiate career. She'll be back next year as a graduate assistant. She takes inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. And got to know Nyjah Kennedy a little bit last year, along with former Stanford pitcher Elena Vaughter. When they played on Team USA over in Japan, they'll be doing that again. And the shared admiration. Heard it from Nyjah, heard it from Taylor. As an opposing player in different leagues, you only see those people on TV. You get a preconceived notion of what somebody's like. And they are big fans of each other. Maybe not right now, but in the long run, yes.
Yeah, Taylor smiled and said, we'll say hi after. But right now, we're focused on LSU softball, and she's focused on Stanford softball. But these are two of the best in our sport. Taylor Pleasant is one of the best defensive shortstops in our game.
Kennedy back-to-back strikeouts looking. She went outside to Newland and clips the inside against Pleasant.
And I can tell you right now that Coach Trina acknowledges the fact that you are going to strike out. You just have to be comfortable with that. But striking out looking, that's not the approach that she wants from her team. Be aggressive, hack at it. That's the only way that you can get to Nyjah Kennedy, because we saw it on Friday. They were aggressive in the first inning. They scored 3 runs. They continued that through the 5th. And I've just seen a lot more takes early. Now, it's easy to say that. Getting into the box and getting your swings off of Nyjah is not an easy thing to do. It's why she has the ERA that she does.
Ball and a strike to the catcher. Macy Bergeron hits 7th in the lineup. Sierra Briggs, a lone hit among the first 6 Tigers. Winner tonight is on to the World Series. So LSU 2017 was the tail end of 3 straight trips to Oklahoma City. Stanford was there just a year ago, but it had been a long wait for them too. 2001, 2004, and then not again until last year. And it's a quick turnaround. That plane will be ready to go with those games starting on Thursday. Miller comes in, makes the catch. The inning is over. Kennedy, Berzon, Chafin, 7 innings against Jackson State to open their regional. Kelly Lynch went yesterday and pitched very well. Ali Kaneshiro is out at first base. Jessica Allister has had a great challenge success rate here in the postseason, but she shows no inclination to challenge that call. So the put out is out number 1.
Live, I thought safe. We'll see on the review here. I think she's out. Good call.
Kelly Lynch yesterday, for what it's worth, 7 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, struck out 3. But Sydney Berzon has been just on a different level. You go back, not just the postseason, but her last 10 outings, a .82 ERA, 59 2/3, 7 earned runs.
And nice to have a staff that can pick up some of your innings, so you're a little bit more fresh for this moment. Of course, you're going to attack and give it everything you have, but just a little bit more in the tank because your teammates have been able to pick you up. And you haven't had to carry the load that maybe Nyjah Kennedy has had to carry in the postseason for Stanford.
That's right. Kennedy tonight starting for a 3rd straight game for the first time in her career. She hadn't started consecutive games until last weekend. What's funny, though, is you add up the pitches for Kennedy over the last 2 games, still fewer than Berzon threw in that 14-inning game in the SEC tournament. That's lifted out to right field. Kaylin Koch sends it to the wall. It's off the fence. She takes the big turn and is into second base with a 1-out double.
Kaylin Koch had a couple of good swings yesterday. Just got unlucky. But this one, I thought it had a chance. She's watching it. It's a 2-2 count, a curveball, just a little bit up and a little bit too center cut from Berzon, and Koch is all over it. On her horse, all the way to second base. Off the top of the wall, we saw Stanford and Taryn Kern hit almost that exact same ball yesterday for a triple.
Danny Hayes pinch running for Koch at second base. She's been as reliable as they come, whether with late inning defense or on the base paths. Reaction from whatever it was that she saw. So it sets up Jade Berry. Pleasance on the move, makes the throw and gets the out. And that retires the freshman third baseman. We are just 4 days away from the start of the Women's College World Series. Thursday, 12 Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information, head to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. The Longhorns and the Aggies playing right down to the wire, and based on what they've shown us this weekend, what else would you expect from that super regional there in Austin, which has had a little bit of everything? And the winner here will be the 8th and final team of the Women's College World Series field. River Mailer parabolas that out to shallow left field. Pleasance gets both put decades. We look forward to listening next week. Texas is in. They hang on against Texas A&M, and the Longhorns, after missing out on Oklahoma City last year, return 2022. They were the national runners-up. Madison Manning, the freshman, just her 18th game of the year, steps in. Kevin, thank you so much. We welcome you here to Smith Family Stadium on the campus of Stanford. Third and final game of this Super Regional. With Kenzie Fowler, Mike Cousins, we are scoreless. Top three, Nigeri Kennedy, statistically speaking, the best pitcher in the country this year. Lowest ERA for the second straight season. Has given up just one base hit over the first 2 innings. Struck out a pair last frame. So we cap off this series. Kenzie, the 8th team to go to Oklahoma City. Friday night, an 11-1 victory for LSU. Yesterday, vintage Nigeri Kennedy, 3-0 Stanford wins.
I don't know if we've ever had this many game threes on the same day.
Believe that is the first time all 5, because 5 is the most, which we have this year, that all 5 have been on the same day.
Electric. So cool.
That Friday night game was a stunner as LSU tagged Nigeri Kennedy for 10 hits, which was a career high, a career worst 5 earned runs as well. And Stanford ended up using 3 different pitchers just to get through that game. Manning holding it 2-2 and sends it over Kern's glove into right field. A great effort from Kern with full extension, and Manning has LSU's second base hit, their first leadoff runner of the night. And it was right from the get-go. You could tell LSU had been so prepared coming into this series. They scored 3 in the first, hit 3 home runs as part of an 8-run 5th inning. And yesterday, Nigeri Kennedy allowed only 2 hits and struck out 9.
2 crazy storylines. The offense for LSU made hitting off of Nigeri Kennedy look easy, which it is not. She has the best ERA and the most strikeouts in the country, and LSU just came out and teed off. Nigeri was knocked out of the game, and then the bounce back. We knew she was going to have to go. Stanford has to throw her in the circle. She bounced back big time.
Carly Petty in the 9 spot gets the bunt down. The throw on to first base retires Petty and moves Manning into scoring position at second.
I just want to shout out the at-bat from Madison Manning, the freshman. One thing that stood out to me in her at-bat is she swung first pitch, and it rewarded her. Got her swing off early, got comfortable with the foul balls, and then was able to fist something out to right field for a base hit.
Just the 8th hit of her early career and only her 18th game after she got thrust into the starting lineup in late April in their series against Tennessee. High and playable for Emily Jones out there in center field. And Rudity in the leadoff spot is 0 for 2. Another element this year that is certainly different for Nyjah Kennedy is she's at the top of everybody's scouting report. Last year, she was the one that came in after teams had gotten weary, had gotten tired, could hit you with 75 miles an hour. And this year, all focus is dedicated on her.
Teams are preparing for one pitch and it's a rise ball versus sharing the scouting report with maybe Elena Vaughter, an All-American from last year who was all about the drop. And so it just goes to the preparation. Any team knows that when you're preparing and you get the info, okay, what does she throw? You are going to work at batting practice with a high T if it's rise ball. If it's a drop ball, you're going low T, and you're getting your swings off for 4 straight days on that exact pitch. Just look at the difference in the workload. Last season, 135. This season, already at 200 and still going. Remember, she pitched well into the World Series, went all the way to the semifinals.
Time called here for Sierra Briggs. Beth Torina has said with Briggs, who's now a graduate student, playing back here in her home state of California, if you could represent your program and somebody came to your practice, I would just say watch Sierra Briggs. Watch how she plays. But it's not just between the lines, it's how she lives. She's always been our leader. And everything is intense for her, even shagging balls during batting practice. She wants to win every step of the way. And has the awards to prove it.
Kind of interesting. You don't often see offensive timeouts on 2 strikes. Just tells you what this moment is with the runner in scoring position. And remember, Sierra Briggs had a single off of Nyjah Kennedy in the 1st inning.
She hit it right back up the middle. Hayes the grab. And Kennedy with her 50th pitch. Last out, that 21st one does not come easily.
Just the 7th inning alone. Those last 3 outs, man.
Texas wins 6-5 and Alabama wins 4-1, but for Tennessee, you couldn't have drawn it up any better than bases loaded and Kiki Malloy at the plate. And that's what they had to end the game, with a ground out to short to send the Crimson Tide back to Oklahoma City for the 15th time. And under Patrick Murphy, they have been the masters after losing game 1. 4th time now. It's the most of any team since we started Super Regionals in 2005 to lose game 1 and come back and win the next 2.
Really? Tells you there's just a little extra magic in the dugout.
Emily Jones rolls it on 3 hops to Carly Petty. Tomorrow noon Eastern ESPN. Take note, that start time moved up a little bit. And it's Notre Dame, Maryland for the title from Philadelphia. Last Stanford hitter to come to the plate here is Caitlin Lim. One of 4 players who will graduate at the conclusion of this season. And over the last couple years, you've had Stanford, Northwestern, 2 programs that have atypical academic calendars where the Cardinal players are still in school for a few more weeks. Lim sends Briggs on the run. The 2-time Gold Glover grabs it in the alleyway.
She just has an elite first step.
We go to the top of the 4th. We'll hear from Beth Torina. It is a little bit warmer here today, but the jacket A little bit of a superstition thing for her, because this has far and away been the warmest day of the weekend. Game time temperatures over the last 2 days below 60 degrees to start. And if you're a hitter, great. If you're a pitcher, maybe not as much. No wind blowing in today either. Taryn Kern was not bothered by the wind yesterday. She hit a triple off the top of the wall out in right field. And it was challenged by Jessica Allister, her head coach, to see if they could eke out a home run. We asked her after the game about the incentive there for the challenge, and she said, well, there are some fence posts back there. So me being me, I walked the outfield today.
Of course you did.
Went behind the fence, put on my newsboy cap.
And?
So behind the fence, there's nothing that rises above the level of the padding. It's just chain link fence that's basically a stanchion support behind it. So it would have to be a pretty odd bounce to hit off of that fencing and then back into the field of play.
Okay.
But she said, based off of the reaction from Mackenzie Rudity out there in right last night, and a beautiful shot there to give you exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, support the facts.
It's like a document-based question in high school. Did you have those? Sorry for the terror
We're
flashback.
talking softball here, Mike. All right.
But the reason for her challenge was she saw Mackenzie Rudity not really playing it as if it were a ball in play. Thought it was a home run. So 2-2 to Kern.
So long story short, it was a triple. There you go.
We're here for the elucidation of the audience. Give you the full story. Berzon, first time through the lineup, 2 strikeouts, gave up a double. Both coaches thought before the start of the series, going into game 1, first run might win it. And that's what it feels like tonight here in the bottom of the 3rd. Kern is very difficult to strike out. But Berzon got her looking back in the first. Backhand bounces away from Pleasance. Kern is safe over at first base. She reaches with 2 out.
I love when we get to see Taryn Kern swing the bat. She's a great hitter. She just has so many walks. And Taylor Pleasance is one of the best to do it at the shortstop position. You do not see her make errors. Her feet just get still. They don't move. She goes to the backhand. If she moves her feet when Taryn Kern is hitting the ball and has a little bit more of an open drop step, she fields that ball with ease. But she was kind of planted at her position.
Second error this weekend for Pleasance. The Tigers had a streak of more than 60 consecutive innings without an error coming into this series. Fortunately for LSU, neither have been consequential. That gets a piece of Chan's bat. No balls, 2 strikes. Kara Chan was asked about her RBI double yesterday to bring home Taryn Kern. She said, this is where I've always dreamed of being. The moment comes to fruition again. She landlocks it between Berzon's cleats. And Berzon, last night after the game, you felt like in game 2, your team came out on your heels a little bit. Of course, there are some nights you're facing Nyjah Kennedy. She'll be at her best. How do you feel about the start here through 3 innings?
Yeah, I like where we're at today. I think we're more aggressive. I think we're attacking more. So I like the way our offense is swinging. And, you know, any night against her is going to be a tough one. She's one of the best in the game, one of the best we've had, you know. So I think any night against her is going to be tough. We just have to stay tough in battle.
First, Coach, is Sydney okay after taking that off of the leg?
She's fine.
Okay, great. And then going into today with the scouting report and how much she loves to watch film, is there a different game plan day 2 or for her facing the same lineup in Stanford?
I mean, I think she has so many weapons, so many tools, so many speeds. She can do so many things. I think she can be really just fluid throughout a game. You know, she's so special in that she's got so many different things. We're lucky to have somebody like that. There aren't many around that can do all the things she can do. So I think she's able to just be fluid and change throughout the game as need be. So you never know what you're going to get.
We appreciate you, Beth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Softball in life, like a box of chocolates.
Well, their super regional has been like a box of chocolates. Roller coaster. Game 1 came out, 11 runs, and then shut out the next. It's a little bit of whiplash, but Coach Trina just laughed a little bit and said, that's softball yesterday. That is what you play for, and all about you, how you ride that roller coaster, ride the momentum, get yourself reset.
When life looks like Easy Street, there is danger at the door, though, because somebody is going to get on the board here in this game. That will be the first break in this winner-take-all game. Kelly Lynch, high to left field. Hayes retreating at the warning track, and she brings it in. With Lynch looking for her second home. Indy 500 today, pushed back because of some rain. Didn't stop the festivities, that's for sure. One out now for Raylene Gutierrez. She's the type of hitter who can get an offense, get an inning going. A career season for her in her graduate campaign. Came into this weekend 17 doubles, 6 home runs. More than her totals in her first 4 seasons combined. Kern was playing back. She charges and tosses and makes Gutierrez 0 for 2.
Taryn Kern has been a huge boost offensively, of course, in that leadoff spot for Stanford, but I've been very impressed with her defense at second base. Has good speed, covers a lot of ground.
And an innate sense of how a play is going to develop, too. It's a young infield for Stanford. Great core of this team. They'll lose Kaneshiro behind the plate. But next year, your corner infielders, if things hold as they are, of course, there's a freshman class that would like to have a say coming in next year. But you'd have 2 sophomores, first and third, and juniors up the middle with Mailer and Kern. Allie Newland struck out looking back in the second inning.
And on the flip side for LSU, it is one of the most senior-heavy teams that you'll find. 6 in the lineup offensively.
Newland among those with Lynch, who started the inning, Gutierrez, Taylor Pleasance, Carly Petty, and Sierra Briggs. Gapper left center field, Hayes on the run. Kennedy gets her second 1-2-3 inning of the night. The #1 overall seed, and Oklahoma State, casual 5th straight trip to the World Series. The only active streak longer is Oklahoma.
I feel like Danielle and Jess and Michelle and Beth and Courtney, I feel like their games were last week. You know what I mean?
The games earlier today were last week, I think. Yeah, those first 2 series that got started on Thursday wrapped up in 2 days, and everything that's transpired since then is a month's worth of highlights and nail-biting action.
Shout out to the squads watching at home. I guess that's fair. They had the earlier prep for Thursday, quicker turnaround, so you get rewarded to watch all of the games, so I'll say it's fair.
Ava Gall shoots that foul down the right field line. She's up for the second time. 3-4-5 in the order. The only base hit of the night coming from batter number 3 of the inning, Kaylin Koch. And this has all the markings of a thriller written all over it so far. It was 11-1 LSU on the opening night of the series on Friday. 3-0 Stanford yesterday.
Yeah, this game reminds me of what I was watching earlier between Duke and Missouri. Just pitchers duel, going at it. A couple of opportunities, but this is what you're going to expect when you have two All-Americans getting after it. Sydney Brzan, All-American a season ago. Najee Kennedy will be an All-American this season.
Pleasance takes the low hop and delivers on target to Gutierrez. There have been some challenging balls hit Taylor Pleasant's way here through just 3 1/3.
Yeah, both of these pitchers only have 2 strikeouts apiece. So day 3, you're going to expect more balls put in play. You just got to make sure that you're square on your location, so that way when they are put in play, they're at the right spots in the defense. Taylor Pleasant's fielding that ball nicely.
In a game like this where offense is at a premium for pitchers, you'd imagine it feels like sometimes your shadow's the only one that walks beside you. Although with the sun down now,
Isn't that a Green Day lyric?
you only got a couple of shadows. Oh, Bay Area band.
Are they?
Yeah.
I feel like I should know that.
Demerit Kenzie.
I've been here so long, I should know everything about the Bay Area. I need to be better.
You should just be spouting off Grateful Dead at this point. Kaneshiro waves and misses. 3rd strikeout for Brzan.
And her first strikeout since the first inning. Off speed, curve. You can see just a little bit out in front, Kaneshiro, but the spin is so true. She spins it as well as anybody. No walks. Love to see that from your pitchers. Just 3 hits in the ballgame.
Kaylin Koch re-entering here. Danny Hayes had come in as a pinch runner after Koch's double in the 2nd and played left field. So Koch back to the plate as she has authored the only base hit of the night for the Card. And top 5, we will check in with Jessica Allister, trying to get her team to the World Series in back-to-back years. Koch, a 3rd-year starter, coming off of a torn ACL that limited her to just 30 games last year. So academically, she's a senior, but she has another year of eligibility left. Fouled that off herself in the batter's box. This does, you're right, have the feel of that Duke, Missouri game. Scoreless into the 9th. That's down the line left field, and that is a fair ball all the way to the wall. Kaylin Koch is 2 for 2, a pair of doubles.
She's been it for the Stanford offense today. First, the double was to the right side of the field off the wall. And that tells me that she is locked in. When you are hitting the ball square on each side of the field off of Sydney Brzan, who's spinning it as good as anyone can do it, she's seeing the ball deep, just so patient. But can anyone pick up what she's been putting down?
And Jade Berry has now seen 2 pitches in this game. Went after the first one her first time up, grounded out to short.
I was just going to say, the other good contact was from Jade Berry. Her ground out to Taylor Pleasance, it was up the middle, it was hit sharply. Taylor Pleasance is just Taylor Pleasance, so she scooped it up solidly, but it was a good contact off the bat of the freshman.
Grounder right side and through for a base hit. Koch is around 3rd, and the throw to the plate in plenty of time. She is out by a couple of steps. And Jessica Allister is coming over now for a conversation with Aaron Peterson, the home plate umpire. Stanford has been on the wrong side of a call like this year with an obstruction call. But I think in this case, this might fall under the section of clearly out at home.
Yeah, I think we know that she's going to mix speeds pretty well. And that we're going to need to do a good job of getting the ball up in the zone and letting our barrel work through it. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. I think we're getting a lot of barrels to ball, and we just need to string them together and have them find a couple holes. But I think we're doing a pretty good job offensively.
Coach, after Friday, Nyjah said that she took it personally. What did that mean for you to hear that from her and bounce back the way that she did yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that her saying she took it personally means anything to me. I think one of Nyjah's wonderful traits about herself is that she's always going to look in the mirror first, and she's always going to figure out how she can be better. You know, and it's not common, and it's awesome. So no hesitation giving her the ball, and she's doing a great job out there.
Jessica, we appreciate the time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Nyjah Kennedy, here's the crazy thing about her numbers after a loss. Her .72 ERA is above her season numbers and still first in the country. That's scary good.
Scary good. Has carried a bigger workload this season.
Taylor Pleasance takes the first pitch here in the fifth, pops it up into left field, where Kira Chan has come back into the game, and Pleasance 0 for 2. And we were talking about the infield and the youth of this infield for Stanford. Nyjah Kennedy, last year's Freshman of the Year, top 3 finalist for Player of the Year this year. That's going to be announced in Oklahoma City. Her ability, as Jessica Allister just told you, to always say, if something went wrong, I am going to turn inwards first. And that, among leaders at any level of any organization, is hard to do, because it's the human instinct to say, well, I did great at what I did. Where else did something go wrong? But when you're looking for somebody who's going to be a leader of this team, has been and will continue to be, that's a quality that will draw people to her.
And when she said in the press conference, I took it personally, it was in the context of looking inward, like you're talking about. It's on me. It's not on anyone else, and it's not reflective of my teammates. I'm going to look inside, and I'm going to be better tomorrow, and she was.
Hardliner, left center field. That's down into the gap. Bergeron around first and into second with a one-out double. She's got that third base dugout fired up. LSU's third hit of the night, and a runner in scoring position here in the fifth.
It's celebrating the little wins when you're going up against Kennedy in the circle. In the last 2 innings, there have been no strikeouts. So what does that tell me? It tells me LSU is getting there. They are getting to the ball. A lot of flyouts, and the hits will come. They will if you keep swinging and you stay with the game plan and you try and put the barrel to the ball. I think, honestly, that's the key, is just don't strike out. Sure, sounds kind of dumb, but put the ball in play. Even if you don't see the results right away, get your hacks in. And also, you just have to remember, this is the 3rd straight day, so that is always going to favor the offense. It's going to be tougher on the pitchers to replicate yourself and do what you did the day before. Time and time again, seeing the exact same hitters.
Savannah Bedell pinch running at second base for Bergeron, just their second runner in scoring position. They had one with Madison Manning, who's next up here, back in the 2nd inning after she led off with a single and then was moved up with a sacrifice bunt. Kennedy then retired the next 2. And prior to that double here by Bergeron, had retired 6 in a row.
And looking down at my scorebook, I like the fact for LSU that the 2 best hits, of course they only have 3, but the 2 solid singles have been from the bottom of the lineup. So production from where you may not expect it. You may think it could be Sierra Briggs or Raylene Gutierrez at the top, but how about the 7, 8 hitters producing for LSU?
And this is definitely a vote of confidence from Beth Torina here, and the freshman Madison Manning. They pinch hit for her at times, but she got her 8th hit of her career last time up, and certainly that precedent helping her get another at bat. Danica Coffey went down early in the season with a knee injury. That set in motion a carousel of starters at third base. And it's Madison Manning, her defense, that helped win her that job, but her offense keeping her going tonight. She fouls it away 1 and 2.
I like the swing, I do. She's on time, just missed it a little bit underneath. It's a big moment for a freshman who has really only been playing, well, the last month.
The Louisiana native down 1-2. Beth Torino also noting that for a player who has not been in this situation before, sometimes it's better when they don't know what they don't know.
That's an elite take. So to me, just a foul ball and then that take, those are little wins. And it turns into confidence in the dugout. If you see your freshman doing this up at the plate, okay, feed me, pass the bat.
Kennedy's third full count. Kaneshiro runs out of room. It'll stay 3-2. One run could be the difference tonight, with the winner going to the World Series, the loser going home. Upstairs, ball 4. And what a plate appearance there from Manning. Kennedy's first walk this evening.
And look at what that does to the dugout. Just her at bat, just being there, taking the pitches, swinging at the right pitches, and it fuels your whole team. That's a little win. A little win could turn into a big win.
Kenzie, you saw this throughout the course of Pac-12 play. Saw it last weekend in the regional round. It doesn't take much to get opponents fired up, to see little successes against Naijari Kennedy, whether it's foul balls, well-struck balls that are at defenders. They know that the little moments can mean big things. Reagan, 2 strikeouts. Last night she struck out 9. Friday she struck out 6. So the competition goes to a different level for Kennedy, who this year has struck out 10 or more 18 times. And the bases are loaded as she comes up and in, hits Carly Petty. Runners at every base, 1 out, back to the top of the order with Rudity.
Kennedy trying to go inside. Left-handed hitter, right-handed pitcher, nowhere to go. And Carly Petty is fired up. She'll take it. Pass the bat no matter how little it is. Set this table, set this situation for the top of the lineup.
LSU is the road team, but it certainly doesn't feel like it at moments, with the purple and gold contingent that has filled at least half of this ballpark. Bedell at third, Manning at second, Petty at first. Out to left field, the outfielders were playing in. Chan makes the catch. Her throw to the plate. Kaneshiro's tag, and it's an inning-ending double play. Immediately, double play to send us to the bottom of the 5th. And River Mailer leads off with extra bases out to right field. Rudity laid out. Mailer headed for third. She is in there standing. And Stanford threatens again.
I feel like River Mailer just goes off adrenaline. She has all the feels when the moment defense carries into the offense. We saw it yesterday. She did the exact same thing. A big moment happened defensively. What does she do? She leads off with a triple. She has so much speed out of the box. Laying it out, Mackenzie Rudity gets past her. And Stanford finds themselves 60 feet away from the first game, or the first run of the game.
That's not a play that's going to end up on the highlight reel of this game, but for LSU, when they go back and watch the film, if Carly Petty doesn't do what she did at second base, River Mailer comes around to score. Carly Petty, the second baseman, ran out and tracked that ball down. And now it's back to Petty. Her throw to the plate. And Mailer is safe. Stanford leads 1-0.
I think this is going to be challenged again. How many plays at the plate are we going to have?
3 so far.
This is happening so quickly, and it just tells me that Coach Tarina and Coach Alistair know what kind of game we are having right now. They've got to go. Take the chance. Oh, she might.
I've watched it twice, and I don't know. So the call on the field, save. What's needed to overturn that call is indisputable video evidence. So they've got to go frame by frame to see, did the cleat get there first or did the glove?
I just want to also acknowledge this is phenomenal softball, what we are watching. Mailer slides early. I think she gets in there by a toe. I mean a toe. Right there. Yeah, I think she's in.
Because the glove comes down and hits the dirt first.
And also where it tags her, it's more up the body versus where her foot is.
First run of the game on the board. Stanford 1-0. And after review, Mailer remains safe. Not only are they the home team, but history on their side, scoring first. Nobody out. Emily Jones with the fielder's choices over at first. And Jessica Alistair asking Caitlin Lim to get the bunt down and put their speediest player at second base. Infield it was in, outfield was back. 3 straight reach for the card here in the bottom of the 5th. Triple fielder's choice and a single from hitters 7, 8, and 9. Taylor Pleasance. And this will be a battle. Kern, a notorious first pitch taker. She only swings at it 2% of the time. Lowest number in the country. But not afraid to hit in a 2-strike count either.
I'm glad those stats back up what I was thinking watching her this entire season. I don't think I've ever seen her swing first pitch. A lot of times she won't even swing second pitch.
The transfer from Indiana, second-team All-American in 2023, Big Ten player and freshman of the year. Part of the 1% of students who apply as transfers to get into Stanford. And that gets down in front of Briggs. Jessica Alistair put up a stop sign, and instead it's an out at the plate. Emily Jones came right through it. Alistair had her hand extended. Don't know that Jones saw it. So it's first and third with the first out of the inning on the board for LSU.
Well, Jones didn't get a great jump because she couldn't read the ball for Sierra Briggs. You see her at second base, just the hesitancy right there to see it fall down. And the fastest player, probably the fastest player on Stanford. I still like the go, I do.
Yep.
It's not the last out in the inning. Your teammate behind you ends up at third base.
And there goes Kern to second, no throw. Now with a runner at third. For those keeping track, play at the plate number 4.
Okay, thank you. I've already lost count, so great.
0-1, over to Gutierrez. She thought about it, she throws home, and she gets the out at the plate on limb, and Jessica Allister says she was safe. It's you here. Ava Gall swings at the first pitch. It looked like it hit off of Kira Chan over between first and second. None of the umpires signaled that there was an out, and so Stanford gets a run. They've got runners at first and third, but this immediately drew the eyes of the LSU defense to say that hit her, and it should have been the third out. So now the umpires are converging to determine whether that ball hit Chan, navigating her way the third out of the inning. Instead, it continues for the cleanup hitter, Ali Kaneshiro. These are massive moments. A 2-run fifth for Stanford so far. Now make it 3. Kaneshiro comes through with an RBI single. Big moment for the senior in her final game in this stadium.
Goes down to get the drop ball. It's not an easy pitch to hit. She's able to get underneath it as well and lift it up. Just enough. A little rally with 2 outs.
High pop, foul behind home, that's out of play. Start to wonder too here in this situation, Kenzie. This is the ace in the circle for LSU. But if you, as a coach, think that the other team has got a read down on her, when do you start to think about making that change?
And also maybe just switch up the momentum. She can always re-enter if things get dicey. There's still game to play, 2 more innings. And I really look down to my scorebook, and I think LSU offensively is having good at-bats against Nigeri Kennedy. Game is not over at all. But how long do you let this inning and the momentum continue to roll?
Ball is at third, Kaneshiro is at first. 3 runs across in the inning. Two balls, 1 strike on Kaylin Koch, who's 2 for 2 with 2 doubles.
And if you were to make the move, I would have made it going into this at-bat against Kaylin Koch, who has 2 sharply hit doubles off of Berzon.
And that is through the left side. A 3rd straight Stanford RBI single. Kaylin Koch is 3 for 3. The Card lead it 4-0.
This inning all started with first pitch swinging River Mailer the triple. And then just continuing to pass the bat. Kaylin Koch has good velocity. It's going to throw curve and work horizontally side to side. Backdoor, true curve. And just attacks the zone.
Jade Berry goes after the first pitch. Flies it deep center. Briggs is back. It is out of here! Jade Berry with a 3-run home run. Stanford absolutely breaks it open in the 5th. 7-0.
Do you know how hard it is to do to be on time to a new pitcher you have not seen this entire weekend? The mindset to go up to the plate and be aggressive, get on time, and then the power, dead center. I am stunned. This is a freshman in that moment having the confidence to swing freely.
Really, she's just doing what she's done all night. That was her third at bat. She swung at the first pitch in every at bat. That one just a lot better than the first two. 7th home run of her freshman campaign. And this inning all started with River Mailer, who's at the plate now, a triple down the right field line. Sends it the other way, and that's a foul ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Shades of Friday night. An 11-1 LSU victory against Nigeri Kennedy to open this series. Stanford comes back behind Kennedy last night. She struck out 9. They win it 3-0. And Mailer sends Pleasance deep into the hole at short. The throw is late. River Mailer 2 for 2 just in this inning.
Nigeri Kennedy is going to have to go re-warm up if she hasn't already.
There are 2 out, but another run from Stanford here, bottom 5, as the home team would make it a run rule victory. 11 hits on the board. And this for Briggs is out number 3. An atomic explosion at the plate. Duke, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State and Florida, the other 7 teams into the World Series field. Sierra Briggs retired on 1 pitch by Nigeri Kennedy. And on any given day, you don't want to face Nigeri Kennedy as an opposing hitter. You certainly don't want to face her with the confidence of a 7-run lead.
It's everything. She only has 2 strikeouts, so LSU has been putting the ball in play, making the Stanford defense work. Remember how young this defense is. New faces in every position in the infield looking out. And just remember, last half inning, LSU ended the inning with the bases loaded. How critical that double play was for Stanford defensively. They got the momentum. The challenge was on their side. And man, they took it and ran.
And we talked about how many replay reviews there had been early in this game, all coming before the 6th inning. So it has to be called for by the coaches. Both teams are out of replay reviews. And so on that ball where Beth Torina argued that she thought Kira Chan was hit by a ground ball, she was out of replay opportunities, and there was nothing the umpires could do at that point.
I think you and I are out of replay reviews. That's how many have been used.
The VCR is overheating. We got to let it cool down. Adjust the tracking. Now, the other part of that ball over at second base is that when it's past the first fielder, the second fielder has to be able to make a play on the ball. And so if the umpires say the second baseman coming over couldn't have made a legitimate play on that ball, then that changes the way they rule on the play. So there's a lot that goes into that.
I guess the play would have been Gutierrez at first base more than Petty at second, in my opinion.
But a big play nevertheless, because that would have been the 3rd out of the inning, and certainly curtailed the scoring for Stanford. Kelly Lynch is down looking. 2 away. Kennedy records her 3rd strikeout.
You were saying about confidence. It's just the 3rd strikeout for Nigeri, but it's the 1st since the 2nd inning.
Things have just changed so much for LSU. I think you'd agree, Kenzie, they looked a little bit more tentative yesterday. as Kennedy got back to form. And it's fun to think about. If you had said Naijari Kennedy's game with her fewest strikeouts in the postseason would also be the game that sends them to the World Series, you might raise some eyebrows with that as a hypothesis.
It's so tough to continue to repeat and pitch against the same offense 3 days in a row. Getting the ball, she's going to start every single game. It's that cat and mouse. We're watching film. Okay, well, I'm watching film as well. What's the execution? What's the plan? You do all that pre-game work, but then you have to go out and do it and execute it and have the guts.
That was up and in, but off the bat. So just a foul ball from Gutierrez, 0-2. The unrelenting confidence and nearly unmatched ability of Naija Kennedy turns this into a 1-2-3 inning. Family of networks, including Jocelyn Allo, part of the circuit. Don't miss a minute. Everything gets underway the 10th of June here in Stanford, California. One spot left in the Women's College World Series. Stanford, what they hope will be their last trip to the plate, and it starts with a swing out deep right center field. Oh, it's off the tree. How appropriate for Caitlin Lim. And Stanford walks it off against LSU. The Cardinal back to the World Series. LSU here. Ava Gall swings at the first pitch. It looked like it hit off of Kira Chan over between first and second. None of the umpires signaled that there was an out, and so Stanford gets a run. They've got runners at first and third, but this immediately drew the eyes of the LSU defense to say that hit her, and it should have been the third out. So now the umpires are converging to determine whether that ball hit Chan, navigating her way